So, welcome to another episode of the Quirky Inquiry, and I want to dedicate today's episode to a very, very important topic, and to a very, very important insight that I just got recently. So, this entire YouTube channel is kind of about taking on the theme of questioning the educational system and how to hack the system and how to try to utilize the resources of the system to kind of build something of yourself, to kind of pursue knowledge for its own sake, to redefine learning instead of using your schooling years as a tool for you to get somewhere, which involves a lot of drudgery and a lot of pain. Instead, we flip the script upon that. We flip the script upon something that's actually beneficial to you guys. So we're sort of using the resources of the educational system, however dysfunctional it is right now. We're using the resources, and we're using that resource to benefit ourselves. That's the entire game here. How can we survive in this bureaucracy without getting too stuck in it, so to speak? So I bumped into this very important insight today, and I sort of want to share with you guys. The reason why people don't learn from schools at all, you can argue that schools are teaching you really good stuff, but most people don't happen to see this because they're all wrapped up in the bureaucracy. They're all wrapped up in grades and wrapped up in university course and wrapped up in did I get an A for that assessment? How does my grade compare to other people's grades? This is like a common concern for a lot of high school students. For me, having some, but if you just take a look at the situation from a critical perspective, from my perspective at least, you can start to see that there's something fishy going on. Schools are teaching you knowledge, and education in its essence, defined by the ancient Greeks, is that it's a process of enrichment. It's a process of bringing out the best of an individual. And you could argue that learning some of the stuff in your curriculum, they sure would benefit you. But the mode of learning that schools are taking are completely out of alignment with making you into a better individual. Guess what? Rote learning isn't going to make you any better. Memorization isn't going to make you a better individual. Getting an A on your test isn't making you into a better individual. It might teach important skills like self-control and defeating procrastination and, self-discipline and all that kind of good stuff. I agree with that. But that's a crappy way of instilling self-control and procrastination. You're forcing people to work for something that they don't even freaking care about, and you expect them to exert self-control. This kind of self-control, this isn't self-control. This is neurosis. Psychological neurosis. And having done a lot of research into this neurosis topic, it's not a healthy form. It suppresses a certain part of your personality, and it makes you dysfunctional the further down you go. You can't relate to your authentic motivations anymore, have you been stuck in this mode of doing things just because other people told you so. So, here's one thing that you have to look out for. Educational system, they have a lot of great information, but the way that they teach you this information is crappy. At most crappy, using a more civilized word, crappy. So therefore, you have a real challenge happening here. On one hand, if you're a Renaissance type of minded man, you actually care about, this is global politics. This subject is very important, but I just don't seem to get the benefit out of it because all I'm worrying about are essays. And then assessments after assessments, and all I have to worry about is the exams are coming. I'm gonna cram for the exam. Guess what? You forget all of this information in like 2 days, right after the exam. So you're not really getting the benefit out of this subject. You're not really this is how you feel. You feel like you have to cram for it. You feel like you have to really beat your ass to get this thing in your brain. And once it's in your brain, you get really frustrated because you forget all about it after the test. Now, is that learning? Is that learning? Critically think about it. Is that learning? No. If you think about it, no, that's not learning. Learning is a slower process than it might initially seem. And what school does is that school doesn't stress mastery, but they stress rote repetition. School does not stress mastery. They stress rote repetition. Which in this case is not how the human brain is wired to learn. Your human brain actually needs a lot of time for you to contemplate, for you to make associations, for you to think things through and for you to dive into the mechanics of the topic. Instead of riding on a freaking motorcycle, just ripping through the entire thing. Efficiency is not the key to learning. Efficiency is really great in factories, but that's not what enriching the self is. That's not what knowledge is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like you ripping through 50 books and then now you're this really wise guy. No. It's not how it works. So, solution to this problem of you always feel like you're ripping through your curriculum like you're on a motorcycle. This is really hard to do, but I'm trying to implement it more into my own education. Right now I'm actually at the second last, actually getting into the last year of my senior high school, so one more year then I'll be graduating from school. But just now have I realized the importance of this. You need to slow way down on your learning journey. You need to slow way down. And then what I'm advocating here is that you stop worrying about tests. Tests are stupid. Like, seriously, they are. You stop worrying about tests. Instead, crack open a book like you actually care about the subject. Whatever stupid stuff that people tell you, stop believing in that. Stop buying into the social game. Stop buying into this like, oh, my grade is better than yours. This is preposterous. Open your book and learn the thing like you care about it. Open the book and then learn it like it's enriching you. Find whatever way that you have to learn. If you're a kinetic learner, if you learn through doing stuff, do stuff. If you learn by great visuals, learn through videos. If you're a better learner through audio, learn through audio. Find whatever way that fits for you, that enriches your soul, learn through that way. Personally, I favor textbooks because I'm a slow-ass learner. But through this slow-ass learning process, the amount of richness that I get out of every subject it's just amazing, right? Just recently I had a breakthrough in my mind. I was like, should I just stop worrying about grades and just go for knowledge? And I did that, and there was no resistance to studying. There was zero resistance in trying to get myself to study. I'll just open that textbook, I'll solve problems, I'll slow myself down, I'll really concentrate on the conceptual chunks. And then as stuff to start to make sense, that's good stuff. That's satisfying to experience. Ripping through a math problem and then cracking a puzzle, taking twice as long, so you're not just memorizing, you're actually making associations, meaningful associations that makes you happy. That's the actual point of education, is that it should make you happy, not into a stress ball. Why do you think people read books? Because books contain wisdom and knowledge that's going to be beneficial to you. Books contain things that actually enriches you. And nowadays I read a lot of books that enriches me on so many levels, right? But you could obviously benefit from a textbook of some of the hardcore knowledge. You need to know that, just so you don't turn into a moron fool. But do it in a smart way. Do it for the knowledge, not for bureaucracy, not for anything rah-rah out there, not for things that are flying out the window, not for comparison. This is your learning, not your peers' learning, not your mom's learning, not your teacher's learning, nor is it the system's learning. It's your learning. And you have to find a way to combat that. You have to find a way to salvage that. You have to slow way down and actually explore the concepts a little deeper. If you're always under pressure, that's the next tests are coming and exams are coming. That's a hard resistance to fight, but it's worth the fight. You somehow have to balance speed. You have to balance the tests that are coming up. That's why I think speed reading is so important. So you're not just ripping through everything, you're actually making associations. So that's my take. Take it or leave it. That's just my personal perspective. I have a big ambition. I have a big kind of like I have a big perspective or big opinion upon the educational system. It's not the best system, but there are definitely ways that you can combat the gravity. There are definitely ways that you can use education for good. Teach yourself how to learn instead of getting stuck in the bureaucracy, instead of getting so bored. So therefore, that's my opinion from the Quirky Inquiry, and I'll be signing off right now.